Hey, listen up there, YouTube. Chip here with the Iconic Sportcycle Motovlog. Hey, good morning, YouTube. So today, guys, I want to talk about engine configuration. I mean, one of the most important features of a motorcycle is, well, of course, motor. It's a cycle with a motor on it. And, of course, there are several different configurations for a motor on a motorcycle. Probably the most basic will be your single-cylinder engine. The next step up would be a twin. Now, twins usually come in a couple of different arrangements. They will usually come in what they call a parallel twin, where the cylinders are side by side. And then there's the V-twin. My Yosung GT650R happens to have a 90-degree V-twin, and I'll kind of go into that in a few minutes, why that's my favorite. Then there's the, of course, the three-cylinder. Now, three cylinders aren't maybe as common, but they are available. Let's see, MV Agusta, Triumph, they've had very successful runs of three cylinders. Yamaha's getting on board that now. They've had a very successful run with their some of their new models with the triple engine in it. It does offer some unique qualities. Then, of course, probably the most common in a sport bike class would be a four-cylinder. And probably the reason for that being is that, you know, they have a tendency to breathe really well, rev really well. That's kind of gives them an advantage on in a lot of instances. I kind of go over some of that a little bit here as well. And then, of course, there's been the rare six-cylinder and the ultra-rare V8. So, which is best for you? Well, that's going to really kind of depend on your riding style, where you do your riding, what kind of riding you do. Personally, like I said, for right now at this point in my life, I seem to really be enjoying the V-twin power plant. Reason being that, well, for instance, here I'm on a kind of a tight, twisty road, and I'm able to accelerate away from the corners pretty well. The engine produces a lot of mid-range torque, which is a characteristic of a twin-cylinder engine. They have a tendency to build a lot of mid-range torque. Now, this is why a lot of your cruiser bikes have a V-twin, because they're able to, you know, pair it with a nice either 5 or 6 speed wide ratio transmission and make for real leisurely cruising, because the engines are pretty torquey in the mid-range. Now, if you do the same thing, if you take a V-twin engine, you give it the ability to breathe well by giving it some overhead cams, you know, something like that, some, you know, multiple valves per cylinder. You can also have a very good performing V-twin. For instance, this one is very comfortable in RPMs up to, you know, like, for instance, these turns like this, I'm just running through 4,000 to 5,000 RPM, but I can pull this thing all the way to 11 grand, no problem, and it performs pretty well. But again, I like to, you know, power through the corners, and a V-twin gives me the ability to do that quite nicely. Now, most of your sport bike class, you know, mid-displacement sport bike classes are four cylinders. Well, why'd that be? Well, I guess it's because a lot of guys want to see how fast they can go. And a four-cylinder is probably going to be a little bit more conducive to top-end performance. So, you know, if I wanted to do 150 miles an hour, well, then I would probably want to go with a four-cylinder motorcycle. But most of the time, I want to be at speeds much below that. And have a little bit more control over corners and things like that. So I feel that the V-twin is better. Now, why do I like a 90-degree V-twin? Well, it has a great sound to it. Now, the first time I ever heard a 90-degree V-twin was a Ducati Monster. I was at a stoplight. Oh, look at that, a chicken. So after, you know, I was at a stoplight and a guy pulled up alongside me on a Ducati Monster. I was looking at how pretty his bike was, the bright red paint and all that. You know, it's typical as the, you know, Ducatis are great-looking motorcycles. And, but as the light turned green and he started accelerating away from me, I realized, hey, man, that thing sounds pretty darn good. So, you know, I've had V-twin bikes before. I've had twin-cylinder, you know, parallel twins before, and they were all pretty nice bikes. Don't perform quite like this one. Definitely don't sound like this one does. But, you know, they don't make that noise. So this is something that I've come to really enjoy about my Yosung GT650R. I really like the sound that it makes. I like the way it performs. I like where the performance is. It's more suited to my riding style. And so therefore, yeah, it'd be a good bike if you like to do that kind of riding as well. Again, if you're looking for top speed, you might want to consider a either a 4-cylinder, inline 4, or even a V4. I mean, the Honda and, you know, Aprilia, they make some pretty high-performance V4s. Also, like I said, a 3-cylinder might be a good choice for you as well. It kind of maybe give you that kind of in-between between the twin and the 4. But there are many different configurations out there. Again, my personal choice would be the V-twin, a performing V-twin, not like a cruiser that V-twin that doesn't have the ability to breathe with above 5,000 RPM. But a bike like this can be a lot of fun. So this is why my preference for the 90-degree V-twin. Again, it doesn't mean that it should be your preference. I'm just giving you my opinion. But if you have any questions about it, please feel free to ask in the comment section. And again, this is Chip from the Iconic Sports Cycle. Guys, I will talk to you real soon. Bye.